Well, hello, beautiful people. This is Jessica Jones with Taurus Financial Solutions, coming to you today with a quick little discussion on dying without a will or making a will, more importantly. In particular, making a will in California. I've done some other videos on community property states and wills and trusts, but there's some more information I wanted to get out specifically for California as well. With California, it is, well, as I said before, it's always important to have a will. Even if you have a trust or you don't think you have enough assets to have a will, you should have a will. It'll help spell out who you want your assets left to. Otherwise, the court's going to decide where they go, and it may not be where you want them to go. So interestingly enough, you can just handwrite a will in California. It needs to be in your handwriting and signed and dated by you. The state of California does recognize that, as they call it, a holographic will. So they do recognize that as well if it's in your handwriting and signed and dated by you. So that's helpful. That's the least expensive way to do it. There's also forms, like fill in the blank forms, that you can get online. It always helps. They do want witnesses. They suggest at least 2, and they should be not necessarily one of your beneficiaries. It's helpful to have someone who is not a beneficiary, an outside person. It also helps to get it notarized. I mean, any of these little things that you can do to help the courts determine the validity of it is going to help tremendously. So as California is a community property state, anything, if you do have a spouse, it's going to be split 50-50 with your surviving spouse. That's why you need to spell out other things that you would like. In non-community property states, or they're called separate property states, because there's only 9 community property states, which I went over in another video. But for separate property states, that's where it gets real tricky, because if you die without a will in a separate property state, there's a list of, like, a hierarchy of who's going to get what and when, right? So this does not apply to California because we are a community property state. But for separate property states, it's tricky. Like there's different, if you're a surviving spouse and there's no children or parents or siblings, then you're going to get everything, all right? But if there are siblings, if there are parents, if there are children, then your portion gets dwindled away pretty quickly. If the children have passed, then it's going to go down to their children if they have children. So there's a lot of moving parts if you're not in a community property state. So please reach out for more information on that. But the bottom line is you need to spell it out, okay? Because this is if you don't have a will. If you don't have a will, the state and the courts in that state are going to determine who gets what and what assets, right? And people can come out of the woodwork and contest it and say, she said this and she said that I could have that property and I could have this and this nonsense, okay? It's a mess. Luckily, you're not going to be around to see it, but it gets really ugly, which is sad, but money can make people ugly. So, just from my experience, I can promise you that. So just spell it out. Just do yourself a favor. Just give yourself the peace of mind that everybody's going to get what you want them to get. You know, jewelry, property, these sort of things. It feels good to give things to your loved ones, and you want it to go where you want it to go. So please make a will. Please make a will. There's plenty of online sources, or like I said, if you are in California, a handwritten will in your handwriting and signed and dated they will take that. You should use it as a last resort. If there's ways that you can get more official documentation, that's better. And of course, you can always back it up with a trust, and making sure you name beneficiaries on any accounts that will take beneficiaries. These are just some ways to protect your estate and help your assets go to where you want them to go. Please reach out with more questions. Hopefully this was helpful just to get some wheels turning. We don't like thinking about dying, but it's important to plan for it so that you know that gives you the peace of mind. Everything's going where I want it to go. No matter when I die or how I die, my heirs are going to get what I want them to get. All right. So reach out with any questions. It's taurusfinancialsolutions.net. I'm Jessica Jones, as always. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you all. Make it a gorgeous day. Bye.